You can have consequences where in the relationship you are less respected and maybe it dries up the desire for sex from your partner. Or it could actually be where people say, we don't want you to come back to our store. We don't know what you're doing, but it doesn't feel right. Or you can have somebody's husband or wife come up to you and say, what are you doing? Okay, you're being inappropriate. And you didn't even know it. Is it an addiction? I don't believe intrigue addiction will ever make it to the diagnosis code, okay? However, those who intrigue as a coping mechanism do tend to have several of these features of addiction when we talk about addictions in general. So let me give you 9 points to consider if you or someone you know is using intrigue as an addictive behavior, coping mechanism for their life. Number 1, they use intrigue to alter their mood. Now, this can be with real people, this can be with people on social media, but they do mood change when they intrigue. Number 2, they feel emotionally and physically better when they engage in this new or in this ongoing kind of intrigue thing. They get energy from it and they feel good about it. They feel good about themselves, okay? Number 3, they can have withdrawal symptoms if they can't search, find, or have intrigue encounters, and that can get worse the longer they go without intriguing. Like suppose they're put on a vacation situation where there's not a lot of people, or they can't get to their social media profiles, or they can't text or email the person who they've been intriguing back and forth at the office in Chicago. You know, they start feeling like more sluggish, more like not enjoying things, and kind of like, I'm just not getting my coffee in the morning. I really want to have this little perky thing go on to feel better, okay? Number 4, they tried to stop, but they failed. They said to themselves, this is really stupid. I'm doing this with people 10, 15, 20 years younger than me. I have no real interest in them. Why am I doing this? They say, I just got to stop. This is dumb. But then they do it anyway, okay? And that's true with almost every addiction process. You have these aha moments, and usually there's many of them, but you can't stop. They've had relational consequences or complaints from the intriguing, and this can be from your spouse, of course, saying, hey, what are you doing? What's this about? Why are you giving them attention? You can have consequences where in the relationship you are less respected and maybe it dries up the desire for sex from your partner. You can have those kind of consequences. Or it could actually be where people say, we don't want you to come back to our store. We don't know what you're doing, but it doesn't feel right. So please don't come back. Like, you can have consequences, all right? Or you can have somebody's husband or wife come up to you and say, what are you doing? Okay, you're being inappropriate. And you didn't even know it, okay? Number 6, they can identify at any moment people they feel attracted to or believe that are attracted to them. They can say, well, right now, Sue at the office and Carol at the barista and Barbie at the gym, they all think I'm special. Or she might say, Ken down the street, he likes me. Bob, our financial advisor, he's hit on me. And Carl, the guy who picks up our car to detail it, he thinks I'm hot. Like they have a list inside their head, okay, of who they think's attracted to them or who they are attracted to, okay? Number 7, they've lost interest or lessened time with other legitimate social activities. Maybe they stop playing tennis or they stop going to certain games or activities or being involved with certain friends because it's at the same time that this person's schedule opens up and I can intrigue about them over there. And so I do less of what's real and more of this kind of intriguey, kind of flirty, gamey thing, okay? Number 8, they often struggle with denial that they actually intrigue or flirt, or groom, or do any of these behaviors, when they're confronted, they go, no, I don't. I don't do that. That's not my intention. I didn't mean that. Okay? And they can be confronted about it and even deny it. Okay? Number 9, they are prone to think about intrigue participants even when they're not with them. In other words, they intrigue about the girl or the man at the grocery store, and maybe a couple hours later, they're just driving home and thinking, man, that was really neat. I got to have that gaze or that look, or I wonder what they're really meaning when they're looking at me like that. I wonder if they would really be interested in me. I need to go back at 3 o'clock on next Tuesday when I know they'll be there and follow up with that. And it's kind of like this ongoing kind of dialogue in their head. Now, what's happening is they left the road. Okay. Now, fortunately, you can drive and think, but they're not in the car. Okay. They're not with whoever they're supposed to be with. They're over here thinking about the person in the grocery store. Okay. Now, if you have several of these characteristics, you might consider that you could be using intrigue in an addictive manner. And so just go back through those and go, yep. If those apply to you, you might have intrigue issues that you have to deal with. And especially if you're in SA recovery, this can be a later recovery that you have to deal with. You dealt with the masturbation, you dealt with the pornography, you dealt with sex outside your marriage, but you're still having this energy kind of leaking and going towards other people and receiving it. And you just quite don't feel like you're totally free or out of the addiction process. It's because the intrigue addiction is one of the latter ones to actually go, because you have to almost be sober to realize that you're actually giving energy to somebody, to feel that kind of move. So if you are, congratulations. You're at a new level of healing and recovery, and that means that there's a desire inside of your heart to get well. You wouldn't be watching this unless your spouse is making you watch this, unless there was some desire inside of you to go, you know what, I need to clean this up. And maybe I don't think I'm hurting people, but I'm not being as well as I can be. I'm not being as sober as I can be. I'm not being as relational, like everyone has value and honoring the value of them. I'm kind of objectifying them. I'm kind of reducing them, and I'm interpreting them so I can feel good. I need to stop this. So if you have these issues, please start moving towards healing.